Now, for many people, caring for a partner with Alzheimer's can be incredibly challenging, especially when it comes to knowing when it is the time to ask for help. Joining us now to share her story of caring for her partner is actress Úna Crawford O'Brien. Una, it's so lovely to have you. It's so lovely to see you. And normally you're sitting on this couch with the wonderful Bryan Murray. And this is the first time in a long time I've seen you without him. And I include that, like, seeing you walk around your area, like seeing you going for walks in Rathfarnham. Bryan has Alzheimer's. Can you take us back to when he was diagnosed?
2019.
Yeah.
I suppose I started noticing in 2018, but we were doing the play Halcyon Days and we were repeating it. And he couldn't grab the words. He couldn't get them. He couldn't just even using prompts. They just weren't there. So I knew that there was something wrong. So I said it to him after a few months of thinking about it, because you don't say these things lightly. And we went and they did all the tests. So he was diagnosed in May 2019. And they said, what was the words they used? That he clung on to. He didn't want to hear the Alzheimer's. You know, mild cognitive impairment was what they said. And he hung on to that for quite a long time, thinking that's what he had. And he would say, there's nothing wrong with my memory. It's just mild cognitive impairment. You know.
But having a job like an actor as well, remembering lines, and he had his own way of trying to pretend like he knew what was going on.
And you see, we didn't tell anybody for a while, because you don't come out and say an actor has Alzheimer's, because that's the end of his career, basically. Right. So we tried to cover it up. So for 2 years, it was extremely difficult. Extremely difficult. Just family and very close friends knew about it. So eventually, in RTE, they began to think there's something wrong here. And so the conversation had to be had. And then they were amazing. And, like, covering up his lines with tea cloths and newspapers. And, like, I remember at one stage he had quite a long speech giving out to me. And so we had to do it in 2 takes. So I literally held the page up like that for him to read it. And then they turned the cameras back on me. And he was fine, you know. So there was always, and they did it. And then eventually they put in the earpiece.
So was that someone could read the lines that Bryan had to say on Fair City?
Yeah.
Because when did he finish up in Fair City?
His last appearance would have been this time last year.
Last year?
Wow. Yes, but it was, we were in a crowd scene.
Yeah.
And you know the way you have to repeat things, and they do retakes and all the rest of it. And we were just in the crowd scene, and at one stage he turned to me and he said, "This is a load of rubbish." He hadn't a clue where he was. You know?
Oh, God.
Yeah, and like everybody just laughed, you know, because he was he was right. We were just laughing there. You know? His last speaking time was before Christmas, 12 months ago.
12 months ago.
Yeah.
So during this time, when all this was happening, you're managing to keep the show on the road at work.
Yes.
And your colleagues, you know, you're married at your partners in Fair City and your partners in real life.
Yeah.
So it was kind of 24/7 for you. I know Bryan is going through Alzheimer's, but it is the person beside them as well, their carer, who's going through it as well. So what was that like at home? This was all encompassing for you.
Yeah. Last year was so difficult. I mean, it was heartbreakingly difficult, because the illness just completely galloped last year, and he got to the stage then he didn't really know me, and his mood changed. He became difficult. Bryan, who would never be difficult, he was always argumentative, but he was never difficult, and he became extremely difficult, and he became very unhappy in himself, and it was terrible to watch. It was just so awful to watch that this was the person that I knew loved me dearly and didn't know who I was, and I was this stranger issuing him orders, was how he saw it. And he'd say things to me and I didn't know if the right answer was yes or it was no. And I mean, anybody who's a carer will know what I'm talking about, because you tread on eggshells. you just don't know what's the right thing.
Living on your wits. Living on your wits.
Yeah. Yep.
Whenever that's going on, he then obviously has now moved into a home,
Yes.
a care home, which was absolutely the right decision, but it must be an incredibly difficult decision for you.
It was a horrendous decision. And everybody who has been through it knows you don't do it lightly. You don't say, they'll go into a nursing home. It's a case of you've tried every venue. And he would pace in the house, and he'd just stare out the window. And you knew it was all so confusing to him. And he became very unhappy. And as I say, he didn't know me, so the decision, and then he was ill, he had a tummy bug and he didn't know he was sick, and just one thing after another. And it wasn't one thing that made me make the decision, it was 1,000 things. And it was still the most difficult thing I ever did. And then he was going in on the 13th of August, and I broke my foot the night before. Oh. And I think it was just that I was completely gone, and I wasn't thinking of myself at all. And I literally went over on my foot and I broke it. And so the whole thing was dreadful. But his mood now is great. He is in great form. And a friend, Saoirse, said to me the other day, she said, it's possibly because he couldn't cope with the outside world. It was too much. Noises and sounds and people. It was just too much. And now he's in a safe place. And he's in great form.
That must give you an awful lot of solace.
It does. It does. It saddens me when he doesn't know it's me.
Yeah.
But he smiles and we have chats. We have rubbishy chats, but they're just, it's good. And yesterday I was with him and we were looking at photographs. He doesn't remember he was an actor even. And I show him all these photographs and himself and Cyril Cusack or Peter Bowles or whatever. And he'll go, oh, yeah, who's he? Oh. And he's pointing at himself.
He's looking at him.
Yeah.
You're doing all this, the emotional toll that you've had, and as you've said there, every carer knows this, regardless of whether you're a carer for someone with Alzheimer's or not, but watching the man you love dearly go before your eyes. But then there's all the administration of life as well.
Yes.
That goes along with it.
Yeah.
So you've done the fair deal scheme. I know.
Can I call it the unfair deal scheme?
Tell us about it.
It was horrendous. It took me about 6 months to get it through, from beginning to end. And it wasn't, well, first of all, in my innocence, I thought the fact that we weren't married, I would apply in his name alone. And they came back instantly and said, everybody knows you're a couple. No, so all my financial affairs had to be gone through as well. And yes, exactly.
Isn't that it? We were just talking about inheritance yesterday and how if you're not married and if the other person died, you'd be treated like a stranger. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
So, and then the things like, they didn't understand how an actor is being paid. So I tried to explain. And eventually I sent in my contract and underlined all the important bits, all the bits that they needed to know about. So they took my weekly salary, even though they shouldn't have, and multiplied it by 52. And were coming out saying that I wasn't eligible for it. Now, the fact that I worked 12 weeks last year and was only paid for the 12 weeks that I worked, they multiplied it by 52.
Oh, God.
So that took weeks and weeks and weeks. Then they wanted his post office book, which I had forgotten to include. I sent that in. When he had changed address, the post office had put a white sticker where they wrote the new address on. They came back and said, there's a white sticker on. Can you please remove the white sticker? Oh. I said, surely that's defacing the post office book. They said, oh, yes, yeah, all right. Send it in. I said, no, you already have it. This took weeks and weeks. Do you know how much was in the post office book?
What?
€11 something.
Oh, God, Una.
The frustration. Is it worth it, though?
Absolutely, in the end. I couldn't afford to keep him in a nursing home. He couldn't afford to keep him in the nursing home. I mean, of course we're paying what we have to pay, and it's going out of his accounts all the time, and, you know.
But the system.
But the system to get there, horrific. But once you get through the hurdles, it's absolutely worth it.
It is.
And it does work.
It does work. I think one of the problems was I seemed to be dealing with loads of different people. Finally, when one person seemed to take me on, then it went smoothly.
Okay.
You know?
That must have been...
Because you're at your most vulnerable.
Yeah. Beyond
so
stressful.
It was. I dreaded getting envelopes in the door.
Oh, my God. And all the while, was Bryan already gone into the home?
No.
He was still at home?
He was at home. And he didn't understand anything that I was trying to explain to him, or looking for things, or like they'd ask me for Bryan's whatever, and I'd say, well, I can't find it, and they'd say, well, you have to have it, and I'd say, I'm dealing with a man who has Alzheimer's. I'm really terribly sorry. You're going to have to give me more time.
How are you now? How are you?
I am much better. I am. Last year and up to Christmas, I was a disaster. I am slowly finding my life again. My son's actually brought me away to London for 2 days. Just came back day before yesterday, and it was magical. We just had such a great time. I didn't even have to look whether I was going right or whether I was going left, north or south on the tubes, because they just said, "Come on, this is what we're doing."
You.
And it was it's the first time in years. So I'm slowly getting there.
And you deserve to have that, Una. I know that there must be so much in Bryan. It's such a dote.
Yeah.
A lovely human being.
Yeah.
We're thinking of you.
Thank you.
And thank you for coming in and talking to us. And we hope you have a nice chat with Bryan a little bit later on.
I'll tell him.
It's been lovely.
I will.
Please do.
I will.
Úna Crawford O'Brien, thank you so much, as always, for talking to us.
Thanks very much.
Thank you so much.